say a few words.
Ladies and gentlemen, respected panelist and member of academia of the university, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. It's an honor indeed for myself to speak in front of the people who understand the dynamics of the business and have been able to convert an idea into a practical possibility, and not just a possibility, ladies and gentlemen, but a very successful ventures. I basically belong to the mall industry, and when I was coming here, I was thinking on certain lines, and I thought that I'll be talking on those 3-4 points. Ladies and gentlemen, basically I've gotten a background of branding, sales, and now mall management. And when I came to this industry 5 years back, I was thinking that how can the brand management concept be applied on the mall industry and the retail industry. And very recently, I've come across certain studies, certain researchers, which has given a lot of weightage and which have actually endorsed my idea that like we manage a brand, when we talk about brand management, when we talk about brand equity, what comes to our mind is basically Lux, Coke, Pepsi, Lipton. But the researchers have proved that the same model of brand equity proposed by David A. Acker decades back is fully, practically, actually implementable on malls and on retail. And that has been backed up by the researchers. There are 4 elements, if I take a minute of yours to take you through that concept, the model of brand equity management, is that there are 4 elements. When you talk about brand equity, when you talk about a brand, there are 4 elements we talk about. Number 1 is basically the awareness of the name of that brand. Then the associations, then the loyalty, and then the quality and the perception of that brand. So the researchers have proved that what you can implement on Pepsi, on Lipton, on Tabal, you can implement the entire concept on Chaser. You can implement the entire concept on LuckyOne Mall. You can implement the entire concept of any other brand, may it be Khadi, may it be Sana Safinas, may it be any other, may it be Hubletter. And it has been implemented here in Pakistan to an extent. I came here with our head of leasing, she is sitting there, Nergis, and when we were talking about these concepts, so we're thinking that whenever we go into the negotiations with the brands talk about one thing with us, and this is what I've heard practically, that they say that if a model, if you talk about 3 basic elements for a brand to succeed, then the first is location, the second is location, and the third is location. Ladies and gentlemen, I strongly believe, whilst not going against just location, I am a strong believer that brand equity is equally important. The retails have grown to that position, that area, where you have gotten your name awareness established. But today, the point where you have reached actually, every brand, may it be coming from the apparel, may it be coming from the footwear, may it be coming from leather, may it be coming from the typical retail chain stores like Chaser, like Nahil. You must understand that there is an element which is called positioning. There is an element which is called differentiation. There is an element which actually is very important to measure, and that is your attachment with your consumers. So, it is heartening for myself to see, and this was another point, that Hamdard University has actually been able to come up with the first 2 years degree program heavily in retail management. So hats off to you, sir, and I'm very sure and I'm very positive that it's going to take it, it's going to change the entire outlook of the industry. But I strongly believe that your courses must also introduce this element of how brand management can be implemented on retail, on the other brands, and even on mall, if I talk about my own mall. 10 years back, when I was having the sales of Lawrence Food, we were getting into these things, and I remember that we were having the same difficulty, which I'm sure will all, at the moment, all these retailers and the biggest stores will be facing, and that is the trained staff. Today, what I feel basically, 25, 30 years back when MBA degree was being launched by all the universities, big or small, we got a lot of MBAs coming in the industry, but later we realized that what matters a lot is the quality of the education and the content which is being delivered there. If we'll not be able to deliver the content, sir, and when I say the content, it's not the quality of just whatever you are getting, it's actually the relevance with the local industry. The educators, the instructors have been able to brought in a lot of examples from the local industry, and that has helped actually students to learn the marketing in a relevant manner. So what is very important for us to understand here is that this retailer degree program has to have relevance with the local industry. And with that, it has to have that content that the retailers who are waiting for your graduates to come out and take over, right, from the beginning or the entry-level positions to the middle management positions, as you've said, they must see that they have gotten the good understanding of the concepts. So degree has to be very, very relevant, sir. Secondly, what I strongly believe, and Asfan was just mentioning it, that only a 2 years degree programs will not work. I strongly believe that you have to come up with specialized certification programs. Those specialized certification programs again has to be developed in coordination with the industry, and I'm sure that if we'll be able to achieve this, we'll be able to give this raw, very intelligent Pakistani minds great opportunity to come up and to come up with the expectations of the retailers. Coming back to the branding thing, that when we talk about brand management, so the retailers and all even malls must understand that brand management is an element which is far important, and it will become more important as you become older in the industry. When you enter, there's a lot of space and a lot of potential for you to grow. But when you start growing up, you have to go out and take out that potential. So the good concept given by Salman Sahab, that you have to come up and together and have to come up with those things where you can actually share the resources. And the global concept now is what Amir Paracha referred to as frenemies, that you compete within the framework of friendship. So that needs to be done, that you operate together, but you have to have a very unique positioning of yourself. If the retailers, if the retail outlets, if the retail brands will not be able to develop, then Me Too is a fatal strategy. Me Too is a fatal strategy. Why I go to brand A, I have to have a reason for that. And a retail brand has to give me that reason. So the entire concept of brand equity implies, and I think it is about the time for the retailers to understand the importance and should start applying it. And the last but not least thing, sir, that I am sitting at the mall and I am seeing all those things. I strongly believe that brand management is not about just advertising. It's not just about digital and electronic. It has got a very strong meaning. A lot of studies says that malls and retails develop cultures. They establish trends. So I strongly believe that whatever marketing practices the retailers must adopt has to have a connection with the values of our society. This becomes an important point. This becomes a responsibility for us, being a mall, and for you as a retailer, that we must develop those marketing programs which are actually aligned with the basic values of our culture. And I'm sure that once you will be doing that, you will be seeing a lot of acceptance in the masses. So I wish that this brand rise develops and grows and continues and be able to bring the academia and the industry together. And I'm sure that once we start speaking more and more, we'll be coming up with a lot of ideas, and that ideas are going to take our retail industry to level next. Thank you very much for your time. Assalamu alaikum.